So in part 1, we talked about portfolio and people and how to define success clearly and build alignment across your team. Now in this episode, we're going to move into process and practice. And here's why. These two matter because no matter how strong your strategy or people are, if your team doesn't have a good system and repeatable practices, everything eventually will fall apart. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Teresa. I'm a leadership and a career coach based in Melbourne, Australia. On this channel, we explore practical strategies and tools to help you lead with clarity, influence with confidence, and grow in your professional career. And if you like the sound of this, make sure you subscribe to this channel. So let's talk about process, creating structure that scales. When we talk about process in a leadership context, we're not just talking about templates, workflows, or checklists. Process is about designing how your team operates so that you can lead effectively without micromanaging. A good process does two things. One, it gives you effortless oversight and control, meaning you can see what's happening without being in every single conversation. Two, it produces meaningful reporting, helping you, your leaders, and stakeholders see the impact of your team's work. So let me explain how to build that step by step. The first component is about ensuring your team's work stays aligned with what your organization is trying to achieve. Now, in part 1 of this series, we talked about portfolio and the importance of having clear outcomes that measure your team's success. Now, it's time to build on that foundation by developing a product strategy. So here's something crucial I want you to understand. Your strategy needs to be clear, not comprehensive. And I'm being very, very intentional about that word choice. Too many leaders spend weeks creating this exhaustive strategy document that runs through 20 to 30 pages filled with every single possible detail and contingency. Then they wonder why nobody reads them or remembers what's in these strategies. Now instead, focus on clarity. Your strategy should make crystal clear what goals you're pursuing and what aspect of the problem areas your team will tackle over the next 12 months. It should leverage those portfolio measures of success you established earlier, and you should plan to measure your progress quarter by quarter so you can adjust courses when reality tells you something isn't really working as expected. Now, once your strategy exists, and by the way, even a clear strategy is still a living document that should evolve. You need to establish what I call regular rhythms of communication and planning. Now, the first rhythm is your quarterly goals or OKRs, objective key results check-in. This isn't just another status meeting where people read slide at each other. Instead, it's a focused conversation about how your team's work is actually moving the needle on your key metrics. What's particularly valuable about this rhythm is that it becomes a template of how you report to your stakeholders as well. You're not creating that one story for your team and a different story for executive. Everyone is looking at the same reality, which creates consistency and builds trust. Now, the second rhythm is your quarterly planning sessions. These gathering serves a specific purpose. They allow you to understand what ideas your teams are having for solving these problems you've identified in your strategy. So here's a practical approach that works well. Now use a shared spreadsheet where teams can capture their proposals along with the validation work or convictions they have that justifies prioritizing ideas. Now this might sound simple, but it creates something powerful. A transparent process where the best ideas can rise to the top based on evidence rather than who has the loudest in the room or the best political connections. And the third rhythm is your one-on-one meetings with direct reports. I want to share something that I've learned through experience here because it's changed how I think about these conversations. When you start working with someone new, you typically need that weekly 45-minute sessions. There's a lot to establish in those early days, like understanding how they work, answering their questions about how you work, building trust, and establish shared expectations. But here's what happens over time. As your working relationship matures and your direct report becomes more confident and autonomous, you can gradually shift to 30-minute sessions. Now, the relationship becomes more effective and efficient, not because you're cutting corners, but because you've built a shared understanding and trust. You don't need as much as time to get on the same page because you are already there. Now, the second component of process focus on how you report on your area and showcase the meaningful work your teams accomplish. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like such administrative busy work, but I want to challenge that perception because when done well, this is actually deeply strategic work. When you create visibility for your team's work across the organization, you achieve two important goals that directly impact your team's ability to succeed. First, you're building that stronger alignment by helping others understand how your work connects to theirs. This isn't just a nice to have. I think it's essential for getting the support and resources you need when you need them. Secondly, you are reducing duplication, which might not sound exciting, but is incredibly valuable in a large enterprise organization where multiple teams might not knowingly work on similar problems, wasting time and money. Now, let me give you some concrete approaches. Consider creating a business quarterly review document that provides a comprehensive look at your progress. This becomes your source of truth, the place where anyone in the organization can go to understand what you're working on and why it matters. Additionally, write a quarterly article for your organization's internal intranet or socialization that socializes your team's work across different departments. Think of it as actively promoting your team's contribution, helping them build their reputation, and creating opportunities for collaboration with other parts of the business. Now, some leaders might feel uncomfortable with this type of promotion, as if it's somehow political gain. But I'd like to encourage you to reframe it. You're not bragging, you're creating the condition for your team to have greater impact. When other teams understand what you're working on, they can find ways to help. When executives understand your impact, they can make better resourcing allocation decisions. This visibility is a gift to everyone involved. Now let's move into the final pillar, practice. If process is about how work happens, practice is about how well it happens. It's about helping your functional disciplines, product design, data delivery, or analysts, performs at their very, very best. Your goal here is to create homes for each of these crafts, spaces where people can find best practices, develop their skills, and continuously improve. Let me show you how. The first step is establishing what I call a practice space for each discipline. This could be a Confluence Space page, a collection of documents, or a Google Drive or folder. The specific platform matters less than the content and how you organize it. Now, within this space, you want to maintain several key resources that serve real needs your people have. Start with clear documentation of roles and responsibilities, but here's the crucial part. This should include grading at different levels so people understand what's expected of them as they grow from junior to mid-level to senior practitioners. This clarity helps people to see their career path and understand what they need to develop to get there. Now, without this, people are left guessing about what good actually looks like at the next level, what creates anxiety and often leads to them leaving for organization that actually provides a lot more clarity. Next document is the structure of thinking that guides the discipline's work. Let me give you an example to make this concrete. You might map out a flow that starts with outcome, moves into customer segment, and then to problem, and then is split into discovery phase and delivery phase. Now, within this structure, each expertise applies their own unique approach. Product managers might focus on hypothesis formation and testing, developing theories about what will work and designing experiments to validate them, while designers might emphasize on prototyping and user validation, creating tangible representation of solutions and putting them in front of real customers to learn what works. Delivery manager might concentrate on setting up the agile cadences that enable teams to run effectively for discovery and delivery processes, including determining the right meeting, team space, and collaboration structure. Now, the key is that everyone understands how their work fits into the bigger picture. They're not just doing tasks in isolation. They're contributing their specific expertise to a coherent approach to solving problems. The second step is evolving working closely with leads in each functional area. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have a lead or senior person in each disciplinary, they will typically come with a strong sense of what they want to do in their practice area. They're likely to be thinking about this for years, observing what works and what doesn't in other organizations. Your job is to support their vision while also helping them align with any organizational standard that exists. Now, in most organizations, you'll find that delivery function tends to have the most established practice because of agile methodologies are pretty well documented. You'll find clear guidance on running stand-ups, backlog refinement sessions, and other ceremonies. But other functions might be less developed, which creates an opportunity for you to build something valuable. Here's a question that often comes up in my coaching session. What do I do when you're leading a function you've never led before? This happens more often than people admit, especially as you move into more senior leadership roles, where you're responsible for an entire portfolio rather than a single discipline. When I first took on the responsibility for design, I had no background in that discipline. I could appreciate a good design when I saw it, but I didn't know how to set up a design practice or evaluate whether our designers had the support they needed to do excellent work. So I tapped into my professional network and found experienced design leaders who helped me to understand how to set up that practice area effectively. They shared frameworks, recommended resources, and helped me ask the right questions to understand whether we were on track. Now, don't hesitate to reach out for help like this. Your network is one of your most valuable resources, and most people are generally happy to share their expertise, especially when you're honest about what you just don't know. The final step is ongoing monitoring and optimization. Now, leverage your functional leads and your network as much as possible to ensure that each practice is set up properly at a basic level and aligned with industry standards. Once you have a solid foundation in place, everything becomes contextual to specific work environment and challenges. Pay attention to where your people get stuck. If your team constantly struggle with a particular aspect of their work, that's a valuable insight. It might mean they need coaching to build their capability, or it might mean the practice itself needs to be adjusted. Look for senior practitioners elsewhere in your organization who might mentor your team members. These developmental relationships often provide the most valuable learning because they're personalized and relevant to your specific context, rather than generic advice from a book or a course. So here's a challenge to work on this week, because understanding these concepts intellectually is valuable, but the real learning happens when you apply them to your specific situation. Choose either process or practice to review in depth. If you choose process, ask yourself whether you have the right structure in place to create effortless oversight while still maintaining control across your portfolio outcomes. Are you constantly chasing information, or does it flow naturally to you? Do you have a clear rhythm of communication or planning, or does everything feel a little bit ad hoc and reactive? If you choose practice, review your functional disciplines and identify which one has issues or needs improvement. Then go deeper to understand the barriers your people are facing. Is a lack of clarity about roles or expectation? Is it missing tools or frameworks? Is a capability gap that could be addressed through coaching or mentoring? Once you understand the barriers, provide assistance either through external coaching or leverage your network to bring in expertise. The key is to take action rather than just thinking about this abstractly. Pick one thing, go deep on it, and make it better. That's how you build the muscle of creating systems that set your teams free to do their best job. Process and practice work goes hand in hand with other elements of leadership that we've discussed previously: portfolio and people. These four components form an integrated system, and it's important to understand how they connect to each other. Your portfolio defines what you're trying to achieve, the outcome that matters and how you measure them. Your people are the ones who will achieve it, the specific individuals with their unique skills, experiences, and potential. Your processes create the structure and rhythm that coordinates everyone's effort, ensuring information flows where it needs to go and decisions get made in a timely way. And your practices ensure that each discipline has the tools and approaches they need to contribute their best work. When all four elements work together harmoniously, something remarkable happens. You find yourself with more time for critical thinking, instead of constantly putting out fires or making tactical decisions that others could just make it as well or better than you. You can step back and think strategically about where your organization should go next. You can spot emerging patterns, identify new opportunities, and think about how to position your team for future success rather than just surviving the present moment. Leadership is about seeing around the corners, making sense of ambiguity, and helping your team navigate through uncertainty towards meaningful impact. But you can't do any of it if you are drowning in operational details. If you find this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video.